my mama what he's like. She said, don't bother, baby, I know the type. Your daddy was a smooth-talking singer in a traveling band.
Madison, welcome.
Hey everybody, welcome to my Instagram Live. We have started.
This is so exciting, and I'm glad you sound recovered, no voice issues. The poor thing, when we were planning to do this original Instagram Live on her release day for the song, which we'll go into detail about shortly, Madison was suffering from some voice issues, so we didn't want her to have any issues talking about the song, want to give her vocals some rest. So now we are doing this rescheduled live stream. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gabriella Hoffman. You often see me post about politics, the outdoors. I'm also a freelance journalist, so my skills are transferable to any subject area. I can answer questions to pretty good standards and you know, to the best of my ability. And you wouldn't even think I don't talk about country music. I also am a country music aficionado. But if you don't know, Madison is a singer-songwriter. She competed on season 22 of The Voice. We brought her on onto my social media to talk about her previous single, You Were the Whiskey. And now we're bringing her back on to talk about her new single, which is one of my favorites, The Heartbreak Kid. And I think it's starting to catch more fire on social media. And outside of your musical work and all that, we do work together. We're very, very tied together in terms of our freelancing work. We often collaborate on projects. So speaking as a friend too, even as a journalist, I really think the song is super catchy. So congrats on the success of the release of the song. I think it's going to catch fire more as it starts to mature and the days and weeks pass on. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know it's only been 5 days. And Gabby was one of the first people I shared the song with. And you know, you're kind of always nervous when you have a new product or song. In my case, I shared it with my family first, and then Gabby was my first friend, and her reaction was crazy. I was like, is it that good, really? She was really hyping it up, and so that gave me a lot of confidence. And she's like, you gotta release it in the summer. I was very tempted to just hold off on it and be like, I need an album, and let's put it together with an album. But we decided, you know what, this has a summer song feeling. Let's just put it out in the world. So it's doing great.
Yeah, we'll let the universe, you know, deal with it. But what has been the reaction to the song before we go into the meaning and why you chose to sing it?
So I hate to boost up TikTok, but really, like, when I posted the song on there, I just posted a clip of me singing with the Hollywood Hills behind me. And I posted the lyrics like above my head as I'm singing, and it like popped off internationally. So I had all these commenters from Germany and Sweden and South Africa, and everyone's just saying like, wow, the lyrics and the melody, like, it's just so great. Like, I don't really hear country music like this anymore. It doesn't have this super it's not the Morgan Wallen hip hop country, you know. So we're trying to bring back just a classic sound. I think people really appreciate that. And so that was good, because sometimes in the music industry, you can think, oh, you need to copy what everyone else is doing to sell in the market, but maybe not.
It does have a retro vibe to it, and you're singing about the Heartbreak Kid, and that could mean a lot of things to a lot of people. But you had some involvement in your previous single, You Were the Whiskey, which you largely wrote. This one, you also worked with your songwriter, collaborator friend, and he wrote the song this time around. So since you didn't write the song, what led you to choose this song as something you want to put your name to and sing?
Yes. So this is my most frequent collaborator, songwriter friend. His name is Rich Deans, and I want to prop him up as much as I can, because he's also kind of an outsider to Nashville like myself. You know, we're not been in the industry for years and years, so we're both kind of underdogs at the same time. So I first sent him You Were the Whiskey. I had it halfway finished, and then he was helping me finish that one. And so when we were done with that, he was like, well, since this is clearly on your mind a lot, this kind of theme of dating, he's like, I actually wrote this song last week. It's with you in mind, and I would love for you to sing it. It's called The Heartbreak Kid. And he played it for me. And I was immediately like, wow, he just totally gets like the cool factor, you know. He's not writing these cheesy girly pop type of songs, you know. So that's why I love working with Rich, and he just gets me in that aspect. Yeah, did I answer that question?
No, sometimes a simple answer to a question will suffice. And yeah, obviously this is similar to You're the Whiskey in terms of being thematically about dating and romance. And for people in our generation or younger, they might not know the character, the personage, the Heartbreak Kid. I often associate it with like old Hollywood heartthrobs like James Dean or Marlon Brando or a lot of these older people, other people. But it also can have a application today, because I think if you're a woman especially, you have been enthralled and captivated by a Heartbreak Kid. I think we all have. There have been men who broke our hearts. They're good looking. They say sweet nothings to you. You know, their high school crush. They could be someone you dated, what have you. And then they up and leave. They ghost you, break your heart. You know, it's typical across the ages. This happens. And maybe a woman has been a Heartbreak Kid towards a guy, you know. And so that often happens as well, too, on the flip side of the dynamic. So how can this song, talking about kind of an old personage, the Heartbreak Kid, translate to today? And do you think the song can come across that way and resonate with people? It's resonated with people in Europe, but it's not resonated with people in America just yet.
I know, like, come on, people. Everyone in Norway is in the comment section. No, shout out Norway, shout out Finland. I'm like, thank you guys. You guys like good music. That's great. We need to wake everyone else up. But yes, this song, it totally, I mean, it's funny. The second verse says, I tried to tell my mama what he's like. She said, don't bother, baby. I know the type. Like, I would constantly go to my mom and be like venting to her. So-and-so broke my heart, and gosh, it's happening again, or I'm ghosted here, or what is happening? Like, am I trying too hard in dating? Like, I'm super late to the whole dating game. Like, I was a late bloomer and everything, and still I'm just like, am I trying too hard? I can't find the right guys. What is happening? Constantly running into the Heartbreak Kid in real life in 2023, whether it's
aren't we all?
Texting, a dating app, or whatever in real life. And yeah, even though Rich wrote it from the perspective of like Billy the Kid and the Sundance Kid and the old Western outlaws, it's kind of it's like about a fictional character, I guess you could say, who's a musician and has a Mustang and kind of like an Elvis vibe. And we've all, at least I've met them in Nashville. I'm sure if you guys live in Nashville, you would catch this type of person. But yeah, I am constantly getting my feelings messed with, which I do not appreciate. But you gotta write a song about it. So
it just meshed well for you at the right time, right place, right tune.
Yeah.
And as more people discover it, because I was sharing with you earlier today that someone in Canada, finally in the same hemisphere, picked up your song and was playing it, you know, against a clip of them doing ranching. And I was like, your song meshes so well, even outside of romantic topics or romantic frustrations. And I'm just like, people who live the Western lifestyle, because it really does have that kind of thematic thing about being a Western song. Obviously, it's talking about Western United States, like, you know, heartthrobs, breaking your heart, you know, in these old movies. But I really think it can be very representative and used for non-romantic things too. And so when I saw that guy in particular use your clip, I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe people are starting to like have it catch on. And I think before we went live, I saw that like it was maybe up to 17 people so far sharing the audio. So maybe it's starting to trend.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, like the independent musician route, if you're not with a record label or with any company, you have to just rely on your fans to share and your family and friends to share your music. So, and I hate being that person that's like, hey guys, da da da, but that is the only way. So now you know, like the music industry is very gate kept, and you either need $10,000 to put your song on radio, or you can hope the Spotify playlist people put you on. And if they don't, you kind of have to have a grassroots movement. But I would hope that like good music would just rise up, and you could bypass the whole gatekeeping and the pay to play situation. But it's definitely like encouraging seeing the reaction now, like especially because I was thinking, should I do other genres? And I definitely think country is the umbrella genre I'm gonna keep up with, because people like me singing in that kind of style. And
You do country.
yeah, and it's like I'm not yeehaw honky tonk country, but you know, you do country hyphen whatever, country hyphen rock, country hyphen folk,
Americana.
yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of what else to mention about the song. I had a couple of notes I wanted to say.
Yeah. Please elaborate more.
Yeah, so, well, the writer of the song, name is Rich Jeans, for anyone who missed it. He lives in New York. He had a quote that he wanted me to say. So he said, as Waylon Jennings said, ladies love outlaws, and as long as young girls continue to spurn their mother's advice and keep falling for bad boys, they'll go on getting their hearts broken by different versions of the Heartbreak Kid, whether it's a Hollywood heartthrob, a leather-clad rocker, or just a small-town country rebel in a souped-up stock car. He's great with words. And so I love that this song was able to just be written so, you know, timelessly and classic, and sometimes I have trouble doing that all by myself, so it was great to have helpers, you know, come up with better ideas and whatnot. That's the reason for having editors, right? Like yourself. I can try to write part of an article and you can help edit it.
Yeah, that's the problem of being a writer. I have to be used somehow. This too. And I think this kind of genre, or rather this kind of niche of country, really does suit you well. Like I've told you this offline all the time through our travels whenever we go across the country, and I'm definitely going to use the real audio when we go to Alaska next month to film our next report together.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yes,
it's going to be a whole week and a half.
But I really think your music does typify. I mean, people in where you're from in Florida, they can resonate with your music if they live. Country is supposed to supersede geography,
right?
And this is a nod to the West, you know, Old West, the heartthrobs of the West, et cetera, Old Hollywood. I think once people in the U.S. start to capture kind of the excitement that European followers of yours have, and be like, wow, this song is totally under the radar. Why isn't it getting more publicity? Why isn't it getting more publishing, more kind of outward like praise and notice? And I think social media will help you in this regard, because like I said, if more and more people are starting to use the reel and apply it to things, romance, not romance, I think that's how you can kind of break the barriers, you know, the frustrations of gatekeeping with avenue like social media. Because a lot of people use social media. Who has been an upstart person recently? What was it? Warren Zetters, I think, like some people, like young, like very, very social media heavy, were, I don't know if they had like any exchange of money. I can't speak to their process, but to boost his song, Ride the Lightning, and then get to follow him, build the followers, secure the.
And he got people on horseback, you know, using his audio. So you kind of do, like, he also relied on the grassroots thing, and then people come and see you. But I was recently like feeling like I gotta send all these like pitches to different labels and companies, but it's like I don't know. It's almost like you just like be good enough for them to come to you, and if they're not gonna catch on, and that's their loss, honestly. Like I just don't want to be begging for these people.
Sure, we made your name known to these people since I was helping you a little bit with publicity, and that's totally fine. I'm transparent about that. If I can help you in any way, I do as a friend. And at least they're aware of you if they weren't already. And I think as the song gets more spread out there and more widely listened to, I think the followers, the listeners will come. That's usually how these things are. Like, not that you need to strive for going viral or virality, like slow and steady, that's the way to go. And then you build kind of that fan base, you build loyalty, you have people who consistently listen to your music, and then they will just follow along to see what you're up to next. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter your industry. I've seen this with my line of work. I know it's similar to this industry you've waded your feet into more recently in the last few years, that it really is about relationships. It's about producing good content, being unique and different compared to your competitors, the people you're trying to match up against. And it's not because you're trying to tear someone down or try to like outlast someone. You really do have to put yourself out there. And country music, as you well know, and anyone watching very well knows, like I keep hearing like it's 15 years in like a 10-year town. There's some song, I forget, maybe Lainey Wilson got about all these people who've had a modicum of success recently, her in particular, it took her a long time. Like, I think Chris Stapleton was the same way. 15 years working behind the scenes, songwriting, not being outwardly. It took, you know, a decade plus, give or take, for these people who are now very sought after, highly listened to, popular, but still staying true to their roots, for them to emerge and to have consistency and to have all these kind of accolades and notice. So I think for you, that'll eventually come. It's just a matter of it just going out there, letting the universe, letting whatever powers that be kind of just populate there and then transcend, you know, gatekeeping and obstacles and just the rotation of country music just being pop country, or just kind of like the music that plays every hour, or whatever they have. And I think people get tired of that. So I think that's why on TikTok you've had some very good success with that, people listening to your music, and even Instagram I think has helped many people too. Like I said, some of those aforementioned names really achieve success, break barriers, get followers, get their music noticed, invited to events. And so you don't have anything to worry. It's just patience is a virtue, as I always tell you. It's gonna happen. And I hope this live stream and this broadcast does help people expose them to music. I mean, I'll go out of my way to help you. I'm a friend. I have the capability of doing so. And you didn't ask me to share your music. I was like, when is the song?
I know. See, that's what you want. You want people naturally get excited. Because, you know, it's like something that hasn't been blown up yet. And so I appreciate people like you that like actually realize it for what it is, you know. Because then people like to hop on the bandwagon later, which is fine, you know. But
believer from the get-go. Same with your family. Same with our mutual friend. You know. So I'll wear that with a badge of honor. But yeah, late bloomers, totally fine to embrace and accept, and I think it'll come. But what else besides the song has really kind of captured your attention? And do you have songs in the work like this?
Yeah.
Not planning to.
I'll answer, not quite answering your question, but I wanted to say, like, my other friend in the industry, she told me, she's like, you have to know that, like, a lot of artists underestimate the amount of time it sometimes takes for fans to care about things. And so you do have to be patient with that process. And I definitely agree with that. What else was I going to say after that? Yeah. So I've been the past like 6 months, I was thinking like, oh, do I need to do merch and help my website and this and that? And I'm like, no, I need to get my product. So what is that? It is songs. So I need to go find songwriters in Nashville to work with. So it's Rich is like my top one because he's awesome. And just through networking in Nashville, I've set up some other songwriting sessions with people. So I've got them all in my voice memos on my phone. And then basically the process from there is you kind of weed out like, okay, which songs is not really what I want to say in my music, which one's not really on point genre-wise. And then you would take those songs to your producers. So I have 2 different producer people I'm working with in Nashville, which you will be seeing soon. And figuring out, is that an EP next or an album? What is the release thing? But I definitely think songwriting like a bunch is been the priority, and it should be for the next, probably through the end of the summer, is keep on the writing. And then you can also do recording while you're writing and have them stockpiled for when the fans are ready for like, okay, when's your album coming? Because you don't want to just be feeding people singles the rest of your life. I think it's sometimes nice to have a whole, you know, like a playlist or collection of songs for people to get a bigger picture of what music you put out. Because recently it's been a bunch of different songs, but I'm ready to kind of hone in on this sound that you've heard in You Were the Whiskey and the Heartbreak Kid. So you can expect longer form projects in the very near future. The song I've also teased on here is called I Won't Forget to Remember You. It's not written by me, but it's by my friends in Nashville. That will for sure be recorded. So we're working on that. I'm not sure if it will be a single or on a larger project, to be determined.
How has your whole world changed since you've appeared on The Voice? Now it's coming close to a year since the episode debuted. September, I believe,
Crazy.
year was when you broke out the national scene. You got 3 chair turns, and you ultimately chose Blake Shelton before his retirement, because now he's no longer on The Voice, but you got to have him as a coach on the second to last season of his on the program.
Yes.
So how has everything changed for you? Would you say that it's opened a lot of doors? Are there still some struggles with singing and
I would say I've mainly been able to use The Voice and, you know, emails, like in the subject line, like Madison Hughes, Team Blake, The Voice, and you can kind of name drop to give yourself some cred, I guess. But it does seem within the Nashville world there is another layer of like that's the first, I don't know, seemingly like people who were on American Idol and The Voice. There's, by the way, a lot of people in Nashville that were on all those shows.
Right.
So that gets you through the first door. Then there's like another door to get through of like people who work on radio and work in these publishing companies and labels, and that is totally gatekept. Like I don't know how the secret to get in there and whatnot, but it's just hard because there's so many hoops constantly you have to get through. You're like, can good music not just go right there? No, but we keep going. But that's why I'm notorious for sharing my frustrations and just the journey, the honest journey on here, because no one else is gonna, I feel like no one in music is really, I don't know, saying like the ups and downs, because I don't want to just share the highlight reel. And it's crazy. You would think like, oh, once you're on The Voice, national TV, you're just golden. And even then, it's like there's still there's still layers to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, sorry for interjecting, but I wanted to insert that one commenter here on the live stream was saying Sirius Highway on the horizon. We've talked about that. I mean, can people call in and say that?
Yeah, if you guys, anyone comment down that's in the music industry, let me know, because I don't know.
I think he's recommended that somehow getting it on their radar. I don't know if you call it. I've listened to that program like maybe once, and I don't know if you call in to recommend. But I've emailed like the listening rooms in Nashville. I can't get back to them. I haven't gotten through to the local radio. Bobby Bones, I've like emailed all of them. It's like you clearly just have to know someone and they have to be like, hey, share this person's song now. Like that seems to be the only way, or well, I'm not sure. Or I mean, I also think a good strategy is getting to know the old people in Nashville, because they're the ones who are retired. I met a few of them. They're just cool. They're not all about the money anymore. And so I feel like that could be my strategy, is just get to know more of the, you know, retired people that will just, you know, be like, oh, let's promote good music, not just someone who's signed and they just are paying to be at the top of the radio. So yeah, data play, because sometimes the music is kind of questionable. I'm like, am I hearing the same person's sound again? It's just a different name, different face. Why am I not hearing anything unique? So I think as a consumer, I'm like, oh, you can totally sense it's controlled.
Yeah.
And, you know, they dictate what sounds good to them and what they think may sell records and get airplay and do all this. So it's typical.
The same with news stories, right? Like if you're a journalist pitching a news story to Fox or CNN or whatever, if they're like, oh, it's not juicy enough, sorry, or so-and-so's story we're taking.
Yeah, it happens. You really have to find the right hook, the right time, and see what happens from there. That's just kind of how these things are. But I know in music, it's especially more difficult. Yeah. Do you have any gigs that those watching here on Instagram and elsewhere when we have the replay later can perhaps catch you at, see you at? Do you have anything coming up that you're open to sharing?
Well, it was kind of TBD because I had tonsillitis and I apparently still do, and we're trying to get to the bottom of this situation. So I'm not officially cleared for singing yet. I feel like Morgan Wallen. He's like not cleared for 6 weeks. But as far as like official shows, like honestly, my goal is to not just be up there by myself anymore. So in Nashville, I want to get with the guitar player at least first, and then try to find a bass player and drum player and like punch through the Nashville scene in the face live, not just rely on TikTok, because you can't rely on TikTok. We don't know when it's going to disappear. But so I don't necessarily have any formal shows on the calendar yet. I do have one tentatively for July 8th and August 20th in Jacksonville Beach. And then I am singing the anthem at the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimps game and possibly the Jaguars game if they have They haven't officially confirmed, but it's not a show, but you know.
Once you can confirm it,
yes.
we will discuss details.
Oh yeah.
Those are still exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, these beach bars are fine and they're fun, and you can still gain fans from them. But as far as like legit show where it's like people come to watch Madison Hughes not play cover songs, that's I feel like the next step for me, that because you need to have original songs to be able to do those type of gigs. So that's why I've been working the past few months to do that. And it's been extra hard because like people who are signed to record labels, they have their whole teams behind them, and they just like have them scheduled for songwrites every day with all these legendary people. But I had to just find these songwriters myself. So I, Googled like whoever, and you just kind of make it happen yourself. So that's a little behind the scenes for anyone wondering, like, if you don't have the whole team behind you, just make it happen. And so I'm doing it. You can too. Try out for a talent show. People hate on The Voice, but like it got me confidence, and like, why not? I always tell people, why not try out? Like, why does it have to be a negative thing, with these talent shows? So
the opportunity did open some doors for you, because I had friends who had seen me post about you in our travels together for work, and they're like, that's the girl you do video work with? I'm like, yeah, that's the one I've been sharing and posting about. Like, you guys just caught on. So it takes time and more exposure. So I think that experience in terms of broadening your potential audience and listenership, even among like people in my immediate circles, I think you doing The Voice really did help you in that respect. But I understand you had said it doesn't last forever because people forget contestants all the time. But I also sometimes winners don't often have like an everlasting kind of permanence. Like, you may win The Voice, right, but within a few years time you're not relevant because of just how much the country music scene changes. Like, the country that I remember listening to when I first really got hooked into country, moving to the East Coast, like Carrie Underwood and some others, like, she's still a good performer and all that, but I'm seeing these younger women come up now, and it's
like Megan Roney, she's an
she's good.
She's good
too. What is she? Yeah. Call it like a emo country?
Yeah, emo cowgirl. I see her hats around Jacksonville Beach. I'm like, I DM'd her once. She responded back.
Nice. No, she has a unique voice, and looks her to see with her. Everyone's like, oh, she just must be a pretty girl. She can't just sing. Right. She's on her own. But she's very talented. Just listening kind of to the songwriting, when I hear her lyrics and her tone, and I'm like, wow, she's super talented. Like, I think I'm going to pay attention to her more. And so I feel like you kind of fit in that same lane with her and can similarly capture people as well.
Great.
So Madison, if you want to listen to the Heartbreak Kid, how can they do that? Please tell them how they can do this.
Hopefully, let's see, if you Google Madison Hughes, let's see who comes up, me or the rugby player. Madison Hughes. Okay. So I do show up first now. It says Madison Hughes. My Instagram pops up, but on the right, it says Madison Hughes rugby player. Anyway, but you can type in the Heartbreak Kid on YouTube. Go watch the video for that. Yeah. My friend from FSU filmed it. I flew out to Hollywood while I was doing some film stuff for another lady out there. I was like, on the same day, I'm like, can you last minute shoot a video for me? Oh my gosh. And we made it happen in one day. So you can find that with the Hollywood sign behind me. Super fun. And I tried making a bunch of other content while I was in Colorado recently, just lip syncing content, because you can never have too much of that, for real.
No, I think the Colorado images are good. And I saw that Visit Tell You Ride liked your video.
Yes.
Which is cool that it was on their radar too.
Yeah.
And okay, so yes, of course, Instagram, Facebook. Yep. You get a Twitter because I don't want to just keep playing your songs.
Comment below. Should I have Twitter or not? Vote yes or no.
Informal poll. So that way we can broadcast your music, and maybe Twitter's gonna unveil some sort of like musical syncing apparatus soon. So
Elon, I love him.
Because he's for content creators, so perhaps there will be like a way for people to listen to music, or I don't know if like a Reels prototype is coming to Twitter. I haven't seen that yet, but there's like a Twitter alternative from Instagram dropping tomorrow.
Oh, right. I saw you posted about that.
Yeah. Threads will be know if it's like they'll like put videos. I'm going to experiment with it and tinker with it and see what the heck it is. But maybe Twitter will be like, yeah, we don't want to stifle creativity with music. Like, they want video. So I'm thinking you need to get on it. I know you had it for a time. Get back on it, because there's a lot of people there you could reach and have them discover your music. But any final parting thoughts, because we have let this run on for almost 30 minutes.
Yes, and they'll have a fun time rewatching this. Let's see. I mean, as much as I say I don't want to become a Taylor Swift type of...
Please don't.
Like, well, in the sense of, like, she's always writing about guys and whatever. That's just what I've recently been thinking about.
On that.
But, lost my train of thought. But you have to write about what you're going through to some extent, and I feel like it's a relatable, as long as it's a relatable song, which clearly everyone, if you were the whiskey, everyone related to that. Oh my gosh, it's funny, like, it's resonating with both the males and the females. And I thought the Heartbreak Kid would just be like only the ladies like the song, but it's mostly guys that are like, wow, I love this. So slowly finding my audience, but I feel like in order to find your audience, you got to have more content out there. You know, like Megan Maroney, her audience is the sorority, is the frat girl. You know, like, she's writing songs for them. So for me, it's like, I'm not really sure who my, core group of fans would be, but I would like it for it to be broad and for it to be everybody. Anyway, so you can keep up with my journey here on Instagram. Thank you, Gabby, for hosting this live. Because I wouldn't have done it without you, because I never get on Instagram Live. So
I forced this or coerced you in a nice way to do this, and I appreciate your time, of course, because you're editing one of our other video projects.
I am. I'm doing that after this because it is storming outside. Anyone who lives in Florida, it is pouring.
The whole East Coast has been pouring down rain, but we have an exciting trip coming up for everyone, separate from her music, but maybe she'll be inspired by our trip to Alaska and write some more music. It's going to be beautiful and picturesque. And if you guys want to follow along our Alaska trip and any music that Madison releases, this is the best channel to do it. And other platforms where it's populated, we have featured her song on my Substack newsletter, also my MailChimp. So I have always been putting, and I will continue to put Madison's stuff on blast as best as I can, because people like seeing that kind of stuff. And I love helping friends. So I'm very proud of you. I am wanting to, again, congratulate you on the song. Like I said, when you first teased me, I loved it. I was like, I think I like it better than You Were the Whiskey.
I know you do. Oh, this is your favorite.
I mean, I like the other song too, but I just was like, my God, like, the potential for this to go. And like I said, I think it will just take a little time for it to lift. And so that will conclude our broadcast. It's a little raw, a little informal with these kinds of things, because I could be rigid and I could read from a script, but I would look at it. But Madison, thank you again. And thank you everyone for watching, and catch the replay. If you're interested, share this broadcast if you can. Follow Madison, follow myself, and feel free to connect with us, and make sure you follow her Spotify account, because that's the best way.
Yes, that is the number one.
All the platforms out there. And be sure to share the song if you want to pair your next reel with the Heartbreak Kid. That's the best song to get.
That helps the most, because we have to rely on you guys. There's no one else out here. I don't have $10,000 to pay these folks to help me. So shout out to you fans.
That is okay.
Love you.
Thank you everyone. We will catch you next time for another broadcast, hopefully soon. And yes, make sure to follow our call to actions. And with that, have a good night. Thank you all for tuning in.
Good night. Goodbye, everybody.